Hi everyone, Blake Hero here, and today I'm coming at you guys with a local report. I went 5-0 undefeated today with definitely a different list than I've seen a lot of people play. Tried a cool card, as you can see in the thumbnail. It's really strong card in general, but it's also really good in hero. I'll get more into it whenever I get into the actual list. So for now, here's my matchup. Round 1, I played against Infernoble, won that dice roll. That was the only dice roll I won of the day. Beat him 2-0. Round 2, I played against Faker's Soul, beat him 2-0 after losing the roll. Round 3, I played Tempai, 2-1, one of the harder matchups of the day. Game 3, I completely FTK'd him with Dark Angel, though. A lot of the Tempai variants are actually playing a lot of breakers. They don't have a lot of reliable ways to link away the Dark Angel. So they don't play Anima, they don't play stuff like that. So Dark Angel's really good against them, especially with the amount of normal spells they're playing. Round 4, I lost the die roll to Paleo tier. Dark Law is a very strong card. And in round 5, finally in the finals, I played against Ritual Beast, beat him 2-0 after losing the roll. That's a very scary matchup to lose the roll. Game 2, I actually got full comboed, and I actually won through Shifter somehow. So I think that's a testament to how well this list is playing. And yeah, so we'll just get right into the profile. All right, so let's just get right into the list. Some things are a little bit different. I'm gonna start off with the elemental heroes. To start, we have 3 Stratos, 1 Shadow Mist, 1 Neos, and 1 Wing Kribo level 6. Now you're gonna notice something's missing. There's gonna be no Liquid Soldier in this list. I have a full detailed discussion coming out about it, but basically I'd rather convert the draw 2 discard 1 into a pop instead, just because it's more reliable. The draw 2 discard 1, you actually won't draw non-engine as much as you'd like to, and you're really just missing out on free interruption. So I figured the Wing Kribo level 6 would be better. The follow-up's the exact same. The draw 2 discard 1 is not as good as a pop because you're only going to be able to draw non-engine specifically about like 40 to 60% of the time. You're not going to draw non-engine as much as you think you're going to. So this is the elemental hero lineup. Basically, it's the same old, except I replaced the liquid with the Wing Kribo level 6. And it's been great. The combo's a little bit different, but basically you just link away the Sunrise. So you'll see some stuff in my extra deck change as well, but the combo line changes a little bit. I go into it a good bit in my Wing Kribo discussion video, but I'm also going to go through the line in detail in relating it to cutting Liquid Soldier in an upcoming discussion video. Another thing about cutting Liquid Soldier is that it's very important to play 3 Stratos. This is because you're going to be needing a non-light elemental hero monster besides the Shadow Mist. You're going to be trying to use the Shadow Mist at the end of the main phase, summon off a Wake Up to be able to search Mass Change. The 3 Stratos is very important because you need that non-light elemental hero attribute, because both the ones you're going to fuse for Infernal Rage are light. You desperately need the win, and playing 3 of them means that you can actually, if you hard open more than 1, it helps you play around Nibiru a lot better. So that's why I've been liking 3, and plus it's a part of the 2-card combo. So this is the elemental heroes. Something's changed, but not too big of a change. Next up, I have the vision heroes. We have 3 Ferris, 2 Increase, 2 Vion, and nothing's changed here. Very standard ratio, and it will continue to be this way. Post the evil hero stuff coming out, I'm probably going to cut this down to 1, and I'll go into why at a later date, but just something to look out for. Also, maybe have a 3rd Vion ready. I think there might be a possibility that we bump up to 3 Vion instead of the Stratos, but I'll get into that later. Next up, for the last subtype, is Destiny Heroes, of course, and nothing's changed here. Just the 3 Malicious, 1 Denier, 1 Plasma. Very basic. There's actually, I've been thinking about putting the Dark Angel back in the main, just because if you're playing against Tenpai, you'll know they're on Tenpai because they won the roll but told you to start anyway, and then you can Dark Angel them as long as you don't get Shifter. So that's something I've been thinking about. I think it's pretty good theory, but I haven't really put into practice yet, but just something I thought I'd mention. And that's it for the monsters. For the power spells, 3 A Hero Lives, 3 Fusion Destiny. I shouldn't really have to tell you how good these cards are. You'd want to max out on them. One of the best parts of the Evil Hero stuff is we're about to get a 3rd power spell and probably play 2 to 3 copies of that. And it just allows you to play without your normal summon a lot more. And that's one of the big benefits to drawing some of these cards. And then finally, the one-of spells. Playing the 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Rhoda for consistency, 1 Mass Change, 1 Poly, 1 Miracle, and the 1 Favorite Contact. So basically this is the engine requirements. Nothing's really changed here. I might bump up mass change to more than one. I think Dark Law control can be really good, especially post Rage of the Abyss when we get the new Mulch Army. Having extra copies of mass change. If you play Master Duel, you kind of understand where like you can just kind of set the mass change, not give them a draw, and then you put them under a floodgate. Sure, they have a lot of cards in hand, but they just went neg1. You're able to like still set up a floodgate, so I just figured that one mass change is good for now, but post October this might change. Finally, we have like probably the most important part about post ban list is the non-engine. Everything else pretty much stays the same in the hero deck, but every ban list we have to kind of adapt to beat what the best decks are doing. So the ban list has only been out for a few days, so this is just my initial thoughts, and that will obviously change, especially in October. Non-engine is going to change a lot because in October we're getting the new Mulch Army, of course, and the game is going to be very much built around that. We're going to be forced to play Ash Blossom in the main and probably the Mulch Army as well. The Call By, of course, and then maybe 3 non-engine of our choice. But for now, I get to have fun with actually getting to choose my non-engine, and post-October is not going to be as fun for deck building, but you just have to adapt. But for now, we still have like a month and a half until Rage of the Abyss. We're playing the 3 Droplet, the 3 Book of Eclipse. I'll get into this in a second, how important it is. The 3 Dark Ruler No More, the 1 Call By, and then finally the only effect the ban list had on any of my deck building is Pot of Prosperity. So yeah, Droplet is pretty standard. I shouldn't have to say how good Droplet is. Book of Eclipse, I'll get into this. I've mentioned this a lot of times of how good Book of Eclipse is, but if you were a doubter before, post ban list, we saw Appaloosa is out of the format, which means a lot of decks that could play around Nibiru no longer can. So I think that Nibiru is going to see a lot more usage. Book of Eclipse allows you to book your monsters, which means that if they do have Nibiru, Nibiru only attributes face up monsters, so you can still book your monsters and then resolve your fusion spells, for example. So book, I think, gets a lot better also because, like I said, Appaloosa's out of the format, which is like makes the card going second better as well, because Book of Eclipse will generally threaten their entire board almost always, because before Book of Eclipse would leave the Appaloosa, and Appaloosa by itself can literally solo or engine because of the amount of negates that it has. So this card just got so much better, and I definitely think this is going to be a main deck mandatory card, especially because the usage of Nibiru is going to be very, very high, as well as lower impact hand traps got a lot better because Snake Eye Ash going to 1 means that if they have any of their starters, you can just Imperm or Valor or Ash, and they don't have the punish as often of just normal summoning the Snake Eye Ash as they did before because the card went to 1. Yeah, so I think Book of Eclipse got a lot better. Dark Ruler. So one of the cons of the ban list is you still have to pair multiples of these hand traps, because what the best deck's doing is they still end on a trap that they can just activate at any time. And if you go Dark Ruler, for example, they're going to chain the trap, and then they're going to Desiree negate the Dark Ruler or the Droplet, for example, if you didn't pitch a trap. So it just kind of makes it so that you have to still draw pairs of these, but Book of Eclipse threatens their board, and then you can Dark Ruler them, for example, and just stuff like that. Like being able to pair any of these is very beneficial. And that is another thing before I get to this part of the non-engine, of talking about these 9. This is another reason why I think Liquid Soldier is definitely cuttable, because basically, even if you go for the draw 2 combo, this card doesn't really work to draw and be able to set as interruption if you go first, and going second's just nothing does what Dark Ruler does, so you just kind of have to play it. But like these cards drawing off a Liquid Soldier are fine because they are interruption, but I just don't think they're as good as the guaranteed pop that Wing Creepo gives you 100% of the time versus hoping to draw non-engine, which you'll see in my Liquid Soldier discussion actually isn't as often as you think it is. So that is basically the breakers. I think breakers are going to be actually in a much better position, because another thing, just going back to the ban list, the impacts that it had, one of the problems I had at Nationals was that post side, what the best decks were doing was they were actually basically searching D-Barrier by going Angel of Blue Tears and then setting D-Barrier from their deck. And you couldn't really interact with that super well with the Beatrice. So basically it just kind of makes it so that like now you can actually just use breakers, and now they have to hard draw the D-Barrier, which they'll do a lot less than 100% of the time of just being able to Beatrice get to it. So the Lacrimosa ban really hurt that, as well as Beatrice being banned. So that is basically the whole thing about the breakers. Next, we have Call By, just a very good card. I think we're still going to be in a hand trap format, so just having something else to beat hand traps is great. And then finally, probably the elephant in the room is the one Pot of Prosperity. So yeah, so let's talk about Pot of Prosperity. Now, of course, the card went to 1. I was actually playing 2 to 3 copies because realistically, I wanted 17 starters at least, especially after how I'm getting more used to the consistency of the Evil Hero deck with the Evil Hero support in the Omni Hero deck. So Pot kind of allows you to pseudo get to that point. You're playing 17 and 41, which is like a 95% chance to open a starter, which is very nice. Pot also can become a breaker. You can banish 3 to 6, especially going second, and you can grab one of the breakers where this can kind of double, almost triple as an extender. You can grab Ferris, you can grab Fusion Destiny, you can be a starter of you grabbing Vion, Ferris, the Hero Lives, anything like that. And it could also be a breaker, like I was saying, where you can banish the 3 to 6 and be able to grab like the Droplet, the Dark Ruler, the Book of Eclipse, which you're playing 9 of. So it does take a lot of getting used to because the extra deck is sort of tight, but once you like really understand the deck, Pot of Prosperity is one of those cards you're always going to see your hand before you choose what to banish. So with the Pot, you're able to identify your hand. Okay, like for this hand, I won't be going for double Dark Claw. Then there's one of your options. You generally will go for 3 just to kind of make your hand a little bit better, but you can definitely go for 6 if you know you're desperate. There's some hands you can look at and you're like, okay, I know I can't get to Dark Claw. Or there's some hands you're like, okay, like I know I'm not going to need the Dangerous, for example, or I'm not going to need the second cross, or if this game gets into a grind game, I'm probably going to lose anyway. And that kind of allows some of the choices for the Pot. And just nothing does what this card does. Seeing 6 cards in your deck is just insane for consistency. So I'm playing the 1. It's cool it went to 1 because we don't need it, but we welcome it, I think, especially until we get the Evil Hero stuff, and that kind of ups our consistency. So I'm enjoying the 1 Pot. There's no conflict with Liquid Soldier because I'm not playing it. So it's just been a very good card for me. I've been loving it, and every time I draw it, I'm really happy that this card is Pot instead of it being something else. Because basically this could be E-Call, but this card, like I said, has like triple uses. So I'm really enjoying the Pot in this deck. It does take some getting used to though. Alright, so first off for the extra deck, we have the Elemental Heroes, playing the 1 Sunrise, the 1 Infernal, the 1 Shiniest Wingman, and one big change is I'm playing 2 Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. So don't really need to get into these too much. I mean, I've same old, but 2 Wake Up is because we actually cut the Liquid Soldier, so obviously we can't make Ab-Z. So with the double Wake Up, what you're doing is you're using 1 for turn 1, and then turn 3, a lot of the combos reset the Miracle. You're gonna summon another Wake Up as the kill shot, basically, and the Wake Up is almost better than Ab-Z in a way of being able to kill. It also allows for the favorite contact that you have set. If they have Duster or something, which is what I was playing Dystopia for in the past, you can actually use the trap to summon Wake Up, which unfortunately isn't actually interruption, but it does actually allow you to reshuffle all your resources back into the deck, like your Wonder Driver, like your 2 copies of Malicious. Any of the other cards that you want to reshuffle back, you can put it back and reload basically for turn 3. I really like that aspect. It's cool because it's like it has multiple uses, and I wanted something to summon on turn 3 with Miracle, especially because I cut the Liquid Soldier, which means I cut the Ab-Z, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm really liking this. I definitely think you have to play 2 Wake Up if you're going for the cutting Liquid Soldier list. And that's it for the Elemental Heroes. For the Masked Heroes, I'm just playing the 2 Dark Claw. I was playing the Blast, but I cut him just for today. I thought he was fine. Blast is really good, but I'm finding that not many people are actually imperming or stopping my Stratos. They're mostly waiting, like they should, for like Vion or for Increase, for example, which means Dark Claw just is better. Blast wasn't coming up very often. I tried out a different card, and you'll see in a second. So basically 2 Dark Claw. I really wanted, especially because I cut the Dystopia. If you watch my first combo video, I wanted to always have a way to convert Fusion Destiny plus having Stratos any hero into something at least. And Double Dark Claw was just something that is what I'm going for to convert the Fusion Destiny to. If you're not sure what I'm referring to, especially because there's 1 mass change but 2 Dark Claws, definitely go check out my first combo video. I think I go into great detail there. Next up, for the Destiny Duo, I'm playing the 1 DPE and the 1 Dangerous. So Dangerous found its way back into the deck. With the Dangerous, it's like you have to play Dangerous now without Liquid Soldier as well, because Now, if you draw Vion, but nothing else, Dangerous is going to be your play. You're going to go for DPE, convert the Vion into just DPE plus follow-up, which is fine. It's definitely not the best thing ever, and I think the one-card Vion combo with Liquid Soldier is definitely better. For the few times that opening just Vion comes up, I figured just DPE pass might just be good enough. So you have to play Dangerous for the combo because you're missing the Liquid Soldier, and you need the Liquid Soldier to do the one-card Vion combo that we were going for before. And then next up for Link Monsters, same old, the 2 Cross, 1 Wonder, 1 Infernal, and 1 Dread Decimator. These are always going to be in the deck. Dread, I figure every couple of videos I'll just mention the fact that the hero deck is very gated by the fact that it needs to see fusion spells to be able to do something with the extra bodies or be able to search with plasma. Dread requires neither. So that's kind of why I always think Dread's so important, is because it's something that our deck can do to convert all the bodies we can put out that doesn't require a fusion spell or require to search. So I think Dread's very important. Another thing that I'll kind of give some tips about banishing off a Pot of Prosperity. You'll see your hand, of course. If you drew Neos, you don't need to go into Infernal, so that's an easy banish. If you don't think you're going to get into a grind game, banishing 1 Cross could be fine, especially if some of the hands you draw, like Favorite Contact, for example, or you draw Miracle, which if you do that, you basically search or summon the Wing Karibo instead of doing like the normal combo. So you can actually banish 1 Cross and then you do the combo without actually going into Cross. Because I'm not playing Liquid, there's no point in getting that extra search. You can also banish 1 of the copies of Cross Crusader if that hand does come up. Just some tips of what you can kind of banish off of the Prosperity if you draw it, because of course it's at 1 now. And then finally, the last monster in the extract, I'm playing 1 Baguska. At my local specifically, I just have a lot of shifter decks, and I have a lot of Tenpai. So Baguska's just solid. It's really good if you get Drolled or Shifted. It allows you to convert a Hero Lives into a shifter slash droll out, sort of. Basically, I mean, you just search like Shadow Mist, for example, off the Stratos that you summoned off a Hero Lives, and you just overlay those 2 into the Baguska, and then sure, they have SP and stuff that can out it, but they usually Baguska will trade with a good amount of cards, and you have a high chance to not die, especially because if they use SP's effect to banish it, then they can't attack directly. So even if they out it, you can't die, you get your extra turn. They skip your turn, so you can kind of skip there. So it's just something that like I'm liking. It just depends on your local format for sure. And then finally, we have the side deck. This is just my first impression of what to play for the side. This is going to change, of course, because as the meta develops, especially post Rage of the Abyss, the meta evolves, so do we, so you just have to continuously make your deck match up with what other people are doing to beat it. So we'll just get into it. First off, the 1 Dark Angel still in the side. Anima's still in the game, so you just have to play in the side, I think. Like I said, there was logic to putting it into the main, because the decks that this card's really good against either don't play hand traps, or they're going to tell you to start, so you're going to know. There's reason to main it for sure. Or if like you play at locals and you know like the same matchups, who's playing like what deck, and you could just Dark Angel them first. If you know it's good against the matchup, that's something you can do, but I usually just elect to side it because I like my deck to be as streamlined as possible. 3 Cosmic. Runic is everywhere at my locals, so Cosmic's just really, really good against Runic. It's also nice to set against like Tenpai, for example, if they don't have Duster or Lightning Storm. Setting Cosmic, especially because Tenpai just got really hard nerf with only 1 field spell, you can just preemptively Cosmic their field spell, and then they can't get it back. So Cosmic's really good. I am also siding the other 2 copies of Mass Change. I think that Mass Change is like one of the biggest benefits of our deck, is actually having these cards. But in the main, it's like the card isn't good going second. I get kind of like worried to main it just because if I draw it going second, if it was just another breaker, then I probably win that game. I think it's safe just to side the extra copies instead of maining them. The 1 Duster, it's just a good card against back row decks. You can also grab it off of this card, 2 Thrust. I want to play 3, but in the side it makes more sense because you don't really have a good normal trap to set in the main. I don't really want to play 1 in the main because it kind of sucks to draw, except for Black Goat. But I'm just siding it right now. I think siding is fine. And to kind of go along with that, I'm playing the 1 evenly just to grab off a thrust, and it's like playing 3 copies of it. And then I'm playing the 1 dimensional barrier. Like I said, we have a lot of Tenpai at our locals, so being able to thrust set the barrier if they shift their U lets you skip their turn. So I really like this little package. Also playing the 1 anti-spell, not very fun, but you do what you gotta do. It's mostly for siding patterns where you take 3 cards out and you put the anti-spell plus the 2 mass change in for going first. And if you set up board plus anti-spell, they're not winning. And then lastly, I'm playing the 3 Solemn Judgment. Whenever a new format comes out, people might try breakers, people might try this and that, and Judgment's just a generic, really good going first card against like literally everything. So yeah, that's the deck post ban list. Not really much has changed. Of course, the Liquid Soldier being cut is a decision I made before the ban list anyway. I have a detailed discussion coming out about that kind of goes into it a lot more. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this Undefeated deck profile for post ban list, and I'll see you guys next one. Peace.